Okay, we're back with Keith's list, number 15 out of 20. And we thought this is very on trend for Keith of Creaky Gamers. So I thought we'd go straight to Paddy after he's been researching this madly. And you'll see a video from him soon. But he has a Night Goblin Big Boss with Battle Center Bearer with a great weapon, an Odd Knob level 4 with War Magic and the Ruby Ring, an Orc Weird Knob on a Warboar, also level 4 with Elementalism, the Lore Familiar, and a Power Scroll. In the core, he's got 30 Night Goblins with 3 Fanatics, another 30 with 3 Fanatics. Both units have short bows. And then he has Orc Mobs, 40 Orc Boys with War Bows, the Thinking Orcs Hat, the Spider Banner. And then in the special, he has 8 Squig Hoppers, an Orc Boar Chariot, and a Doom Diver. So to get to it, Paddy, why is Keith running the hottest list there is at the moment?
Yeah, well, this is kind of like the 1,500 point light version of a list that just won a tournament in England, I think in Northern England, where a guy brought 90 Night Goblins with the Poison Banner, which is the Spider Banner, and these 2 casters. So the combo goes the Night Goblin Odd Knob with War Magic, takes Itchy Nuisance, brings down Dragon's Toughness. Orc Weird Knob or any other caster with Elementalism and the Lore Familiar and a Power Scroll takes Plague of Rust and Travel Mystical Pathways, and then you basically lift up your unit, get it in range of a dragon, insane amounts of shots, poison, lower toughness, lower armor. So it's like the meta's evolving answer into how to deal with big bad toughness, high armored stuff. And it's proven very, very effective. I think the guy who brought the 2,000 point list of this said in one wave, he runs the 90 Night Goblins, but he did 30 wounds to a dragon. So it's just like, it just evaporates dragons, which people have been calling for a long time. This is a friendlier version of it. I don't know about 90 Night Goblins, but I'd much prefer to play against this one, although it's still very, very strong. Because a cheeky little Doom Diver doesn't hurt either.
No. So, Alex, were you ready for this? Are you ready to move on from Paul to Keith
I love this list, because it's testament to the natural evolving meta, if you want to call it that, whatever it might be. The big bad's coming. Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Well, Bretonians came out, and now this has come out. I think the guy said it wasn't just dragons that he was one hitting with the poison shots. It was like anything. Nothing wanted to charge him because he was just going. I love the sneaky power scroll, by the way. It's just like, you know what? You're too close to me. I'm using it. I'm out of here with mystical pathways. Too bad, too sad. Um, Love the squig hoppers. Probably one of my favorite units thematically in the game. Immune to psychology too. 3d6 random movement. It's like, little sneaky mini spawn. Obviously, way easier to kill, but it's great. I mean, what are you going to do? Charge the Night Goblins? I don't think so. Have 3 fanatics in the face.
I tell you who can charge the Night Goblins is Paul's bloody Pegasus, who don't allow stand and shoot.
Oh, Paul, he didn't say anything today after we posted that video. I hope he's still alive at home. Alasdair, what do you think? Is it enough? Is it enough shots to worry you?
I was doing the math on this earlier, but I neglected to consider Plague of Rust. So
-1 strength though.
Sorry,
for you.
-1 strength.
Well, yes. I mean, look, -1 strength, but still poison attacks, right? Like that's
still
poison. That's still important to point out. So I think even with no modifiers, it was still something like it's going to end up doing off 40 shots, something like 8 wounds, something like that ultimately. And so it was maybe a little bit more. But that's enough to sort of make me go, oh, okay, that's a little worrying. And then of course you had the stats modifiers. So look, I mean, it's definitely worrying. I love, there's a 40k orc power, psychic power that allows you to basically just teleport units
to jump
of big units of orcs all over the board. And it's nice that in a way, the elementalism lore brings that to Warhammer: The Old World. It's just this whole thematic sense of this giant group of orcs just running across the battlefield, suddenly disappearing and reappearing somewhere weird with this big glowing green magic user somewhere in the middle of them. So it's I love it. It's very thematic. Yeah, I mean it definitely worries me, I suppose. I'll just have to see how I go. The one thing I suppose that that sort of clicked for me though was looking for opportunities to get rid of those night goblins. But fanatics are cooked. Like, they come out in your command subphase, so it's not in just his. It can come out in yours. So you've got your charge lined up, you're ready to go, you think you're okay, and 3 fanatics jump out in front of you, and not only do they trigger you to take the attacks when you move through them, but then suddenly it gets to his turn and they're moving again, and you're taking 3d6 or 6d6, potentially strength 5 AP -3 hits. They're cooked. They're so cooked. And it's just like, it's great defense for his 2 mobs of infantry, and the orc mobs obviously doing all of the shenanigans in bouncing around, zapping targets, just deleting things with all that shooting. I mean, it if I get lucky, maybe I catch it, mire it in combat and win, but I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, I like it. I think if this is what it ends up as, I love 1,500 points. I think this is manageable. I think 90 is not. So, I know there's some little funky things where you got to have an orc weird knob and an orc boy. Like, you could go more night goblins, but the list building, although you can play multiple level 4s with orcs and goblins, and that there's a lot of restrictions on the units you can take depending on the heroes you have. So, look, I think this is, to me, it could be the favorite. I just don't know if the maths is as good, and if it's 40, 30, and 30. I mean, that seems pretty reasonable. So, yeah, I think Keith is onto a winner. I hope he, shows off, because he likes a beer, and I've promised them if he knocks down a dragon, I'll have to apologize to Paul. I think Keith's going to cost me the most money. We better move on.
Keith has his level 4. Keith has his level 4 this time.
He does have a level 4. There's 2 this time. He's never leaving home without him.
That's right.
We're moving on to Dave, Bretonia. So he's got a Duke. The Duke has the virtue of heroism. So that's the big one, or the Monster Slayer Killing Blow one. Royal Peg has Paymaster's coin on it, so I guess he's trying not to miss. Paladin had a Battle Standard Bearer also on a peg. Potion of Toughness, Virtue of Duty, and a level 4 Prophetess Battle Magic Lore Familiar. He's got 25 men at arms, 6 Mounted Knight of the Realm, 13 Peasant Bowmen, a unit of 4 Peg Knights with no magic banner, 5 Squires, and a Trebuchet. What do you think, Alasdair? Are you worried about this one?
This is probably the combat Bretonian character that I'm most worried about. We've done a little bit of playing around with the others, but ultimately we've also learned that the strategy with these lists is not to actually take the dragon on. It's to leave the dragon alone and try and do as much damage to everything else in the list. So, I mean, I like that this one has a bit more of a ground focus than the other Bretonian lists that we've seen. The men-at-arms, the Flavor Knights, I suppose, and the Peasant Bowmen, as well as the Trebuchet. We're seeing a lot of it. The Squires I haven't seen sort of before. I imagine, are they the variant, the skirmish variant, the sort of Way Watcher variant for
if you will.
Wanna be. Right. But I also love to see a prophetess on a unicorn. That's iconic Bretonia, right? And so I think out of all of them, this one has the character that scares me, having a dragon the most, but at the same time, all the same caveats apply of if the failure to kill the dragon outright in a turn of charging, goes through, then the dragon ultimately ends up winning. So yeah, for me it'll be interesting. But again, my particular concern with these lists is not necessarily that the dragon's in trouble, it's that the rest of the army's in trouble while the dragon's left in the dust.
What do you think, Paddy? Different type of Bretonnian list?
Yeah, it's a bit of an all-comers kind of vibe. I agree. I think the unicorn's awesome. I got myself a unicorn model for my Wood Elves. I want to paint that up just because the rule of cool is probably 10 out of 10 with it. So very keen to see it on the table. Dukes are ridiculous for their price. Strength 5. Why is it strength 5? No one knows. But
Chaos Lord
pumping
stats.
weights. Yeah, it's like a Chaos Lord on a bloody Pegasus. Anything that look for Pegasus Knights, I know that they're often just like the delivery system, but I never want to see them. They're the mobile thing that kills my list very easily. So not looking forward to that, but yeah, I like the look of the list, to be fair.
Alex?
Virtue of Duty. I think he's the only one on the list bringing that.
Yeah.
How good is that? I mean, +3 combat res
Massive.
in the unit, given that it also has a sounder bearer. Yes, it does. Which is going to be great. I love the Paymaster coin on this. I actually missed it when I first went through this, which is going to be critical against you, Alasdair, or anyone with a dragon for that matter, because you'll be fishing for 6s and wishing you didn't charge the dragon when you don't roll a single 6 after that. Yeah, I think this is probably the middle ground between the list that we saw. Very balanced. Love the field trebuchet. It's going to inevitably hit something, take it out. Peasants will just die as they're supposed to. The mounted knights of the realm, 6 probably isn't enough to cause you too many problems, but I know it's a minimum unit you have to take. So yeah, just dance around those Pegasus Knights and make sure he doesn't hit you with an absurd amount of combat resolution and wounds.
Yeah, I will just say that this is the one flying circus I think that feels, even if it's not necessarily able to do all the wounds it needs to, it has the best possible chance of winning combat res against a behemoth that's big and defensive, whether it's a dragon or something else. This actually strikes me as, I mean, I know the Iron Demon is unbreakable, but this sort of strikes me as, if something was rolling around with Iron Demon defensiveness, this would be the thing that would tip it over. It wouldn't necessarily cause a whole lot of wounds, but at the same time, that's what, 3 combat res from Virtue. Like from everything combined, it's a huge amount of combat res added onto a unit that is quick, can pick its battles, hits you, overwhelms you, moves on to the next thing that it can find. It feels very, very cleverly thought out, this one.
The ability to pray as well is, exiles, I perhaps did not appreciate that the fact that they have to go and overrun and hit something just to get the ward save makes Paul's unit scary, but actually quite fragile if he's not careful. So Adam and Dave being able to pray and get that ward save at the start. Again, I think whilst Paul's list is still got it at the top of my head as that is the scary beast, this one, over the average of most armies into big dragons, the Duke is probably going to survive a bit longer if he doesn't fail, if he doesn't one hit you with a 6.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I think it's pretty good. Like, to tell you the truth, I think that, multiple Peg Knight units are hard to handle because of the advantages they have and the characters. But this is one unit. Yes, it's going to have a lot of res. It's got those options, which is good. I think, he's going to be able to potentially have a shot against the dragon, a shot against everything with that unit. But the rest of the army is just your usual fair sort of thing. So I think, yeah, it's good. I like this sort of Bretonnian stuff. It's a little bit more, it feels like you might have a chance, at least a bit more. So it does look like it's got the full range of different types of units, which you can't complain about. So We'll see, Dave. See how you go. Good luck. Eric 3-0 beat me at the last tournament. He's come back with high elves after abandoning warriors. Alex, for the cause of, I don't know what we are. Are we even the cause of good? We're some sort of fractured population in this time. I don't know, naval population, but back on high elves. It's great to see. But there's some similarities. He's got an archmage. He ran a level 4 last time by itself. Battle magic, ruby ring, silvery wand. So he's getting everything. It's on an elven steed. He has 2 units of reavers, 2 units of archers, a 20 strong unit of phoenix guard with the war banner, 10 white lions, 2 bolt throwers, and a frost heart phoenix running around by itself. So what do you think here, Alex?
Eric was saying today in the chat that he's like, oh, you know, now that I've seen the list, I regret what I've taken. This is like efficiency to the max, I feel. Okay, it's not the white sword gimmick or a dragon, but you got the Phoenix, you got 2 bolt throwers. I hate to see that. You got the Phoenix Guard, White Lions, another favorite unit of mine. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Thracian Great Blades don't have Strike Last, I don't
They
believe.
They do have
Oh, they do. They do. Okay.
No, they don't have
My
Strike Last.
apologies to all the high elf
They-
players out there.
They definitely
No,
do.
seriously.
It's the sword masters that don't have strike last anymore.
They
But
strike
Okay.
Lions definitely do.
strength.
I'm
They
gonna
strength
fact
6
check it.
-3.
Okay. So I mean, yeah, maybe that's what he means. Maybe it's the White Lions he's quote unquote regretting. I don't know, not bringing, but this is still a decent list that he's put together. It's gonna
have
fire a
strikes
bunch
last.
of fire a bunch of magic missiles at you with battle magic Ring of Ruin, like my classic setup, of course, that I've stolen from a lot of people, and just sit there and shoot you, and then hit you with Phoenix Guard.
Alasdair, what do you think? Do you agree that it's, or do you agree with Eric on Eric or Alex on Eric?
No, I mean, I made a comparison, I suppose, to the list that I took last time to another high elf list, and I look at this one and I think, geez, this is even more close to the Blackguard block, and I think the combat character switching out for a Frostheart Phoenix is probably the key here. But the White Lions, I suppose, are a little bit of a strange thing that just sticks out. Everything else has, established value and efficiency and is good. And Phoenix Guards, arguably, I would argue that Sword Masters are better, but Phoenix Guards are the hot pick for if you're going to take elite infantry for high elves. The White Lions just stand out to me as why choose them and a Frostheart Phoenix over Dragon Princes or over sort of something that's just a little bit different. And that could be, I'm not sure what Eric actually sort of has from a collection wise. So that could be based on that choice, or it could be based on sort of something else. But the Frostheart with the Phoenix Guard has always been a really popular combo. And I imagine that's probably what he's going to try and aim for in terms of having them together. So if you're going to end up charging the Phoenix Guard, you might hit the Frostheart as well. And then you're striking last, and the Phoenix Guard are getting to mow through you in 2 ranks, and that'll be great. But you can't go past the Magic Missile Archmage with +1 to cast and a free cast reroll every turn. That's singularly unfair, being a Dark Elf player, that I could do this shenanigans every turn. But I don't think he's got a whole lot to worry about, to be honest, other than the hypermobile Bretonnian lists, which of course were my big concern last time around. There's plenty in there to worry about, and there's plenty in there that acts on its own in a really efficient and very strong manner. So we'll see.
Why does the Archmage get +1 to cast? Isn't Silvery one more spell?
Yeah.
Is Silvery one more spell, or is it +1 to cast?
So everyone's like a spell familiar.
It's the.
Oh,
it's
sorry. I'm confusing it then. Sorry, that's me.
I mean, yeah, still nothing wrong with having 5 spells and an extra ruby ring.
Definitely.
I agree with a bunch of all that. My hang up is just having 30 melee infantry guys. I mean, the game just doesn't suit them. Warbanner's great if they do get stuck in combat, but really, like, movement 5 just gets hammered, and it's meant to be a fast move for infantry. But Frostheart Phoenixes, I think, are great. The mage is the perfect mage for old world, mobile, lots of spells, lots of damage output. It's just, I can't, as a Wood Elf player, as you can imagine, I've struggled to grasp the concept of fighting infantry to begin with, but investing lots of points in them, and 20 can get killed. Toughness 3 is no joke. So that would be my hang up, but I think it's a cool balanced list.
I have a theory. Maybe if we reach deep into the mind of Eric, who came second last time, he's 3-0'd bunch of people. Maybe his plan on like the first mission is get the Phoenix Guard up, but lead with the White Lions because they can go straight into the woods, not become disrupted. Which public service announcement, people, don't march your close order infantry into the middle of the wood. You'll become disrupted and lose your rank bonus.
That's smart.
So that may catch people
My
off guard.
infantry's open order.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
One of their 400 special rules.
Yeah. So the Phoenix Guard being closed order will only, I think it's 25, less than 25%. So you can get like, an inch in or something like that. But
it's a good one. I
maybe
can't wait for you to get someone with this on the 2 hours and 25 minutes into the slogfest, and it's 1,000 kill points each, and they put their toe into the forest, and you look at them, they look at the forest, they reach their hand out, you shake it, and you say, "I'll take your 300 battle points, thank you, because you were disrupted. Thank you. See you later. I'm going to the loo and getting lunch."
26% of your unit, 26% of your units in the forest.
John,
everyone's got the tape measures out. John's got a laser pointer.
To the bar or to the coffee shop. I'll see you later, but I'll take it.
Yeah, maybe that's it. So there you go. There's my theory.
Thank you for saying that. After all the evil you've done in the last few weeks, that is very lovely to tell people that is a problem, and probably something that I wonder if Michael knew that with the rules, because they do a great job of simplifying the scenarios. So yeah, disrupted in a wood. What a coup. Did you have anything else, Paddy, that you wanted to say about that? You were moving.
The guy's covered. Yeah, the guy's covered it well.
I think Eric played, I played him last time. I thought he played really well. I think I can see where he's coming from. He sort of said as well that he hadn't played in the intervening period, and the game has just moved. The lists at this event, whether or not there's people taking dragons, they're just so much more efficient than last time. And I think he probably just feels a bit caught out that, as you say, he's playing toughness 3. I played a list sort of like this against Paddy and my other brother, Jim, on the weekend. And yeah, toughness 3, that many toughness 3 bodies, it's, especially if you end up going second against something that can shoot you, or you play something fair, like pretty much Eric's list is just really fair. And I don't know if the other lists are anymore. I struggled with the lone Frostheart Phoenix. You whiff a lot. An Archmage running around on a horse just seems naff and underpowered. So, and you'd want White Lions to be good. I haven't got experience with Phoenix Guard in this format. But yeah, Reavers, Archers, Bolt Throwers, I've found them to sort of be mediocre in different ways. So Eric's a good player. I'm sure he'll make the most of it, but I can see that he probably feels like this is a little bit underpowered, especially given that he's coming at the end of some of these videos where we've talked about how the list sort of reveals some sort of insight on the metagame at the moment. So we'll see how he goes. I know he's watching, so I mean, he's looking forward to it. So we'll see you there, Eric. On from one 3-0 player to the next, it's John and his Dark Elves, similar but different to what he played last time. So this time he's got a Death Hag with the Ogre Blade, Rune of Cain. The High Beastmaster's back on the Manticore. This time he's got a Biting. I don't know if he had a Biting Blade last time, but it's got the Pendant of Caliph. Supreme Sorceress, Dark Peg. Elementalism this time, with the Focus Familiar this time. Tome of Fury on Ruby Ring. I think he had Battle Magic last time. I'm not sure.
He did. Yeah, he did.
2 units of Dark Riders, 20 units of Witch Elves, which he has to have if he wants that Death Hag, I believe, and 10 Cold Ones. Is that more Cold Ones than you, Alasdair, I think? but
One-
also
one-
running
Than me. Yeah.
a lot. Banner of Haganeth. So, Alasdair, what do you think? Dark Elf list.
Yeah, I mean it's similar flavor to what John's brought this time, but I feel like he's leaning more in the direction that I was also sort of toying around with. It's funny, we were joking about this, Alex and I. This is almost identical to the list that I had before I decided to switch and bring the dragon. Although my approach with the Death Hag was slightly different, but the core witch elves are great. I'm not sure what the plan is in terms of the Supreme Sorceress with Elementalism, other than travel Mystic Pathway. I don't know sort of whether he's fishing for maybe the template spell to do a bit of impassable terrain, or I'm sort of not sure. But witch elves are great. Witch elves are fabulous. I think he's acknowledging that they're really cool, but he's not gone all in and put the banner on them, which would have been the full commitment to go, I want my witch elves to be the centerpiece. I think the Cold One Knights are clearly here the huge, big damage dealer that I think everyone will need to worry about. Witch elves are great, but they're toughness 3 with no save whatsoever. And as we've pointed out, in this world where half of the armies are dedicated to shooting, it's potentially never going to get anywhere. They're immune to psychology until they lose a combat, basically, because they have frenzy. But yeah, I just don't know. But I mean, all the same, I'm looking forward to seeing the other Dark Elf player, the successful Dark Elf player, play again and see sort of where he goes. It's similar flavor but different, and I mean, witch elves are great to see on the board, so it'll be exciting to see what he can do. The Death Hag, I'll just quickly point out, the Death Hag has strikes first, so that's a strikes first Death Hag with, I think it's D3 extra attacks from the Rune of Cain and an Ogre Blade. If you make the mistake of going in on that witch elf unit with a big behemoth and you get challenged out, that Death Hag, and you're not striking first, that Death Hag may kill you before. I'm pretty sure it has hatred everything as well, the Death Hag.
Yeah,
so it's going to reroll all those hits. It's weapon skill 6, if I remember. It's strength 4 base, so add the Ogre Blade to that, add the frenzy attack to that, add the Rune of Cain attack to that. You're looking at somewhere between 5 and 7 attacks, I think. Re-rolling to hit at weapon skill 6, big and scary for like 145 points. Very, very strong.
Yeah, Paddy, you like Dark Elves? Are you surprised at this list?
No, I like it. I really like the witch elves, as Alice just said. My hang up is the toughness 3 thing, and when I built Jem, who gets a second shout out this episode, when I built him his 1500 point list for his first game ever, I put the witch elf block in it because he loves the witch elves. It's tough to protect them. There's just like they will be the target that you can just fire your strength 3 shooting at, and fireball will just wreck them. But if you can get them there, they mint stuff. And Alasdair's right, the Death Hag is insane. Poison on top of all those abilities that he spoke about, it will absolutely mint something if it can get into base contact with stuff. It's just whether or not they can. But if they don't, the High Beastmaster is enough of a threat. 10 Cold Ones are enough of a threat. His list compared to his list at 1, he's taken out a bit of range shooting, I think, from memory. So he's very much just like go and make contact, fight, push on, kill, which is awesome to see because that's what people like to see on the table. So I'm happy to see it.
What do you think, Alex?
So the Death Hags, you said 6 to 8 attacks. So we said.
I think it's 5 to 7.
So 5 to 7 attacks with hatred and a great weapon. Does that sound like something very similar that we've seen in other?
Give it a Dark Pegasus already.
Perhaps, yeah. Just on that. So I think that's what John's going for is very much to bring that same thematic approach to. Well, I'm going to go first. You might have your exile Baron or whatever, but I'm going to hit you first with an Ogre Blade. I assume he's fishing for Plague of Rust to
Yeah,
just
I
take
think
away
so
that
too.
plague,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's
Yeah.
what it's for.
Yeah. And then control with Wind Blast. That give ground, minusing a 2 inches off of the Pegasus charge is it's not game breaking, but I would like to have it around if I could get it. Another public service announcement: Banner of Haganeth with Lancers will eliminate your save, Mr.
Can
Pegasus
go up
Knights,
to- can go up to
on a
minus
6.
If you're
four.
on
On a 6. If you roll a 6, yeah. Well, apologies, they get a 6+ save on normal. So
Who's
yeah,
charging the Pegasus Knights?
that
Is that
the
the
cold
plan?
ones are.
Are they?
What
They
they,
don't
they
have counter charge.
We'll not go too much into it, but Alex
All right.
Had-
we
Secret
have some
free.
experience in this.
had a test game, and if the Pegasus Knights are foolish enough to get in charge range of the Cold Ones, the Cold One Knights, even with counter charge, Cold One Knights strike first, and even off an average roll, and I really did roll average. Off an average roll, most of the Pegasus unit dies to the Cold One Knight charge before they get a chance to strike.
Yeah,
So
weapon skill 5 to 4.
Seems improbable. If you're Peg Knights, you deserve it, guys. If you get charged by the Cold Ones. And what a moment, though. Take a photo. It would look great. It'd be thematic.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Alex? So yeah, I think like you, it's
Look, I've
Rust.
played the Beastmaster before and lost to it. So yes, there's less shooting. Thank God, because he did very bad things to my Forsaken with the crossbowmen before. So yeah, I mean, there's no magic resistance. So if I'm looking at this correctly, unlike yours, Alasdair, which does have a couple of lodestones on it.
I
It's a
suppose
very
that's
small army. It's
Yeah.
it's very small. Like for John, he had like as Paddy was saying, he had 2 units of 10 crossbowmen. He had the shades last time. It sort of fluffed it out, and they're being replaced by the 20 witch elves and the death hag. Now the death hag is sort of rule of cool, I think, really. Like in this like that is just a
It is.
human, it's just well not a human, inhuman glass cannon. It's I don't think you can get more glass cannony than that really. Like for
Are they immune
120
to psychology?
frenzy
have-
will make them, yeah.
Oh, frenzy. Yeah, okay.
immune
So,
psychology.
but I mean, you might get to a point where that 20 witch elves will die to the point where Death Hag has to go with the witch elves, doesn't it? Like Loner or something, or I think they've got
Yeah.
Loner.
Yeah. she
So,
does.
yeah, look, it's great that like I liked John's list was my favorite from the first event. I didn't think he was going to win. John, you're incredible. But like I love
His
the
first round opponent was trash. That's why.
I love the Beastmaster. I like Dark Elves as well. Death Hag, I love it, but yeah, it just seems really small. It's what there's 1, 2, 3, 4 units, 3 characters. It's just like big G territory. Like take the minimum amount of units you can. So hopefully, if he survives the gauntlet, he's the greatest Warhammer player in Western Sydney. With this, it's tiny. All right. Well, going from John's list, which was my favorite last time, to this one is my favorite this time. So Paddy has brought a Tomb King's Mortuary cult list, but it has a level 4 High Priest, Illusion, Warding Splint on a skeletal steed. Then 3 Mortuary Priests, level 1s on skeletal steeds with Necromancy, skeleton 17 Horse Archers with Warbows, 5 Tomb Swarms, 3 Ushabti, a Necrolith Colossus in special, and a Tomb Scorpion, which you have to take in the army, and 2 more Necrolith Colossus in rare. Wasn't expecting this at all. Paddy had sort of intimated that it was coming. I wasn't sure whether that was going to be the truth or not, but never seen a list like this. So what do you think, Paddy Brown?
I'm a big fan of Paddy's lists, to be honest. I think every time, so I've watched them play in your guys' recent tournament. I've seen what they had at Castle Assault and then Moab. they're creative lists, I think, and this is no exception. The Colossus spam is hilarious and I think awesome. The block of skeleton horse archers is going to be hard to completely wipe out, which you have to do to get to the crux of the army, which is the characters, because they'll just stay out of combat, keep raising up to 4. Or maybe I forget the rule for Arise, but maybe cavalry is not D3 plus 1, but it's at least more than 1. I can't remember how many. 2.
Thank you.
So that's going to be a pain in the ass, to be fair. Trying to kill more than 6 or so horses a turn. Otherwise, the Colossus are going to run you down. So, look, there's not a lot to it in terms of size. Again, quite a short list with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units and some characters. But those units are one model most of the time. So I think it's cool. It's definitely like a combo list. If the combo works, I think it'll be a strong list. If it doesn't work, then obviously it crumbles. But hey, best to roll the dice on this sort of stuff.
What do you think, Alasdair?
Yeah, I mean, I love the infinitely regenerating horse archer block. It's very, very thematic, and it is incredibly annoying, but I do love the thought of it. It's just it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, you have the opportunity to take advantage of the special rule, and you're really going to take advantage of the special rule. So I mean, things like that are always entertaining, and it's not, apart from the Colossi, it's not a hugely intimidating list. If you can pin down the horse archers with a combat unit and maybe a combat character or 2, then you will be able to do enough wounds to stop it with combat resolution, to stop it from really building itself back all that much. But the Colossi are obviously the big thing. The reassuring thing for me is that I'm pretty sure that the combat dragon eats a Colossi every turn. So particularly in my case, even if they're swinging back, they have such a hard time wounding the dragon that even with combat res and everything else, chances are they're going to drop wounds. So the big thing that stood out for me though was that the Tomb Scorpion doesn't have ambushes. I'm pretty sure you have to pay for ambushes on top with the Tomb Scorpions. It's worth me being fact checked on that, but that just struck me as because playing against Keith last time, the ambushing Tomb Scorpions, when most of your list is going to be playing, relatively cloistered or defensively around potentially characters as they might play in this particular case, the ambushing Tomb Scorpion to jump in and kill war machines or kill maybe some backfield ranged units, that struck me as like that's a really good thing. And again, Tomb Scorpions are cooked for 70 points. So I suppose that was the big thing that sort of stood out for me. But then again, Tomb Swarms, 5 wins a piece, 5 attacks a piece. Yeah, their weapon skill, 2 or whatever it is. But at the same time, that's still plenty of attacks and plenty of wounds to maybe do that. And maybe that's the approach that they're taking, and they didn't feel the need to put it on the Tomb Scorpions. But I welcome Bone Giant spam. It's super entertaining. It's impossible to take apart piece by piece. You've got to kill something every time you approach it, and that's an interesting and entertaining approach for me.
What do you think, Alex? It's difficult to play against something like this for you, surely.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I can see that the level 1s are just set of heal back wounds on the Colossus because it's 1 wound on the behemoth, irrelevant of wizard level. So clearly why she's got 3. And then the level 4 is 5 horses a turn she can bring back, as we said, because wizard level +1. God, I hate Tomb Scorpions so much. Like, who cares if it doesn't have ambush? It's just like kills me. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm bringing Colossus, but you just had to bring the thing I hate as well.
I think you're lucky. There's just one.
Oh, it's only 1. Oh, sorry.
No Necrosphinx.
Yeah, no Necrosphinx. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the thing I love about this, and I'm having this vision of her putting the 3 the Colossus almost like in base to base contact, and just going up, because It's not against me. I'm just shooting magic missiles at even if I can see like a slither of the horse. I'm blasting that with fireballs. Um, but for shooting armies, Paddy. Oh my gosh, as in Paddy Brown. If you want to shoot those horses, you're going -2. Like from having to shoot past a Colossus. I can see it now. I don't know, or maybe the tactic is one Colossus and then the Lich Priest sits right behind it and like they just hop up the board. I'm more interested. I have no idea how she's going to play this in that sense, and the three Ushabti are just there almost as a meme. I feel like this is a meme list. I feel like the Ushabti is just like, yeah, well, we'll just throw them in and go for it. So, illusion on the Lich Priest. What are we thinking there?
I think it's anti-charge spell is the big one that is probably looked for as far as illusion goes.
Crystal column as well.
The minus one
true.
hit, obviously. So glittering robe.
Crystal columns. That's probably it, Alex. Because the only thing really in my list that can kill a Colossus are the Dragon Ogres and the Spawn. And yeah, put that big template down. Stop it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Horse Archers also have a reserve move, if I'm remembering correctly from playing as Keith. So I think you'll see the Horse Archers actually being played relatively aggressively in terms of they're always hitting on it's either fours or fives, right, with Arrows of Asaph. I think you'll see them being played relatively aggressively to just throw those dice at whatever they can see and just tease you, just tease you, and yeah, Paddy Brown. I feel like you're actually in for a really bad time against the team just because of the regeneration, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got like 30 poison shots, so my strategy might actually have to be to target a Colossus at a time rather than and just wipe one.
Yeah.
Toughness 6 doesn't matter if I spike, but honestly, it's not
the only problem is you've got to do all 6 wounds or all 5 wounds
exactly.
And if you can't do all 5 wounds,
no, I'm definitely not looking forward to it. For the Paddy.
I mean, to be fair, it's a leadership test, right? To get the wounds.
And it's sevens and 8, so you're not looking at enormous odds.
Yeah,
I think that also. I think the level ones take. Look, it depends. I think Alex, you're right that there's a chance, and a lot of people in some of the London GT, so a lot of people running. So the Beastman army that did well, they ran in a block, and the high elf guy who took 2 Star Dragons and 2 Frost Phoenixes ran the Frost Phoenixes together in the middle of the block. So
there's something just wrong about that,
It feels like
just
it, but
wrong.
wait for the video where I try to show me making a pitiful attempt to do this in a game I played on the weekend. It is a thing, and I think it's something that's possible here. However, one of the other things that's possible, the guy I think we did, Phil Carl, who won a big Canadian tournament, did well in the first S spot, come back with the same list. He was running using the reserve move to lumber up, use the free pivot, move again, free pivot again. So that's also possible with the Colossus here, because those level ones can take the default to the Tomb King spell reserve moves. So who knows what the plan is from Paddy? Look, to me, I don't want to show my hand too much, but the Horse Archers have no save. I mean, how you can look at the maths on taking down a Colossus, but could you just wipe the Horse Archers out straight away?
Well, you'd with the Ignores cover sisters, you'd be making one of the one.
That's right. I don't think in maths the same way.
He didn't want to give away his hand, Alasdair.
Right. I was like,
I think we've established what the sisters can do.
Later. Paddy's got, you got 6 or 7 shots, don't you? Ignores cover.
I've got multiple shots. Give me 12, man.
Multiple shots.
Just fireball on the sisters all day.
All day.
Yeah, I think Paddy was right. They said it's a type of list to bring to a 1,500 point tournament. It's going to catch people off guard. Paddy's got a claim. could be the best player in Australia at the moment. Came second, multiple tournaments,
Yeah.
big tournaments. Seems to be willing to travel around. I would not, take this lightly. So I think it's great. And I haven't even seen a Bone Giant in this edition be put anyone playing them. So I have three. It's going to be interesting to have a look
I've
at.
still got my metal one somewhere.
Yeah, are they any good? The GW ones, or you'd have a different one? Oh no, you'd have a metal one.
No, no, no. I had the GW one from God knows how long ago, and covered in copious amounts of dried super glue, failed attempts at pinning.
Yeah. Thank God for printing. No more pinning. Anything else on this? The swarms having ambushes. I probably should have mentioned to you. That's a bit that will pop up behind you. But anyway, we're on to the last one. We made it. Thank you for watching. We're on to Dave and his Orc and Goblin list. I think Alex, you've spent a bit of time with Dave, or nearby, speak to him about this list a bit, and he decided in the end to take the models that look good, which we can all respect. He's got Nod Nob, level 4, Wild Magic, Idol of Gork. So I think is that +1 to cast, Idol of Gork?
I think it's a free casting reroll every turn and a +1 to cast, I'm pretty sure.
Orc Big Boss, Battle Standard Bearer, Orc War Boss, Trollhide Trousers, the big part, Night Goblin 31, 2 Fanatics, that's very gentle. 25 Orc Boys, Hand Weapon Shield. Trolls, 3 Trolls, 5 Squig Hoppers, 5 Boar Boys, a Snotling Pump Wagon, Doom Divers, and a Giant. So yeah, definitely winning the style points. And I've seen the army before. It's certainly unique. What do you think, Alex? Can you give us more insight into what Dave's trying to do?
Well, Dave and I live probably 100 meters from one another, and we only met each other at the tournament. I haven't been involved in discussing this list, but Dave, if we don't manage to get a game in before the tournament, we're doing something wrong. It's probably on me more than you, mate, to be free to do that. Yeah, I mean, just so you know, Dave's also the one with the, I think it's a Dunny toilet as his Doom Diver catapult, which is fantastic. So it's the Australian Army from memory. The models are fantastic. You give him the most outlandish ideas, and he's gonna come up with a way to do it. So the Orc War Boss is like a classic. Trollhide Trousers giving him a 5-up regen. He's still an Orc that can do a lot of damage. Sort of striking. I was not expecting on that one. First time I think I've seen an Orc do that. But again, in this world of flying Bretonnian Knights, might be worth striking first at most things. Fanatics are great. The Trolls must be painted really well, Dave, because out of everything, I don't think I've seen a troll on the table once in anyone's list. But I want to see them do well, of course. Squig Hoppers again, love that, love that. Boar Boys, I mean, they're just fantastic. I wish that unit was bigger, Dave. That would be fantastic. The Pump Wagon, yes, yes. Like style points galore. I have no idea what it does. Doesn't matter.
Nothing. It doesn't do a lot.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But it's great. I mean, I want to see the model more than anything else. And the Giant. I've been toying with Giants until the Spawn came out, and now it's an automatic no-go anyway. But the Giant can do some decent amount of damage, and I feel like you're going to be so distracted with the units coming down on you, when are the Fanatics going to come out, that when the Giant just eventually makes contact, he's just going to take out whatever he's charging at.
Paddy, what do you think? You haven't seen this army yet in person. There's like nothing else like it. It is conversions beyond what, it's not just like, hey, I'm going to put this pointy hat on my Chaos Lord. It is, yeah.
Is this the giant is this the giant who has the shin pad, like the cricket pads on?
There's a lot of cricket.
He's like a cricket player or something. Look, it rings true when you look at the list because it's a cool ass list. Like the Pump Wagon is hilarious. No one knows what it does because I don't think anyone's seen it do anything. But it looks
I'm gonna
looks
look it
so
up now.
cool. Yeah. The giant again, like it has its flaws because I don't think it has a lot of armor save, maybe even like a 5 up, 6 up, or something like that. But you have to pay for the regen or something.
Yeah.
And the two fanatics is a classic because he's taken 31 night goblins. Why not just take 20? But like power to him because I am very, very excited to see the army on the table because I imagine it's going to be awesome. So yeah, props to him.
Alistair, you've seen it before, but what do you think? How are
Well,
these chances?
I think he deserves. I think he deserves an award for maybe the most thematic list that we've seen. This is the most traditionally chaotic, piecemeal, orcs and goblins mashup that I think has probably been on a board in a tournament in recent memory. Like, there's lots of things that are good but are better in bigger chunks and bigger blocks. So the Ball Boys, for example. Pump wagons, I wouldn't underestimate. Having one, I feel like is a bit of a nod to a nod to maybe wanting to get a model on the board. But units of pump wagons, they used to be stupid, really, really stupid. And I think they still have random movement now.
It is. I'm looking at it. It's 2d6 random move.
They avoid
immune to psychology.
Yeah,
that I
much
wasn't
like
expecting.
Storm, they completely ignored charge reactions. And what you used to see was two big units. I'm pretty sure they used to go up to 5 or 6 pump wagons in a unit. And I might be imagining that, but I think that's how it used to be. And you used to see two big units of that many pump wagons rolling across the board with their random movement at you. And it was sort of it left you a bit nonplussed until they hit your unit, and suddenly snotlings are murdering everything that you have. And so I like to see the Snotling pub wagon. Everything else, though, I mean, like I said, there's lots of stuff there that's good. Trolls are good. Squig hoppers are good. They're better, obviously, in bigger units, but I do think he deserves style points for just having, if an orc army showed up, it would probably look very much along these lines of there are bits and pieces, there are combo units, there are different things. There's the core of your night goblins and your orcs doing night goblin and orc things. And then there's a giant rolling around behind hoping to get scraps from the battlefield. Like, it's so thematic. And I really do love it. And I'm so looking forward to seeing all of his conversions again, because I don't think I've seen his giant on the board, and he had a more sort of limited roster last time. So I'm really excited to see all those different models and see sort of what the list is capable of in its eclecticness.
Yeah, it still has the spider banner, so he's on a forum somewhere figuring it out. But
I think I think he had it in the last event. Didn't
probably
he?
did.
Yeah.
That's what the extra one
He's the OG. Yeah. By the way, are we calling it as the real Snotling pump wagon or the classic? I've just taken a bunch of GW old sprues, cut them together, and put some wheels on it, and that's my pump wagon.
It's a good
I
question.
can't remember them. I mean, 35 points, it's got to be doing nothing.
I imagine it'll be like an
It's got armor bane 3.
Armor bane 3.
But no AP. No AP.
But it used to all be about impact hits, and it also always a shock of what they're capable of doing.
I'm get flattened by
2 or 3.
Immune to psychology. It's pretty sneaky, actually. 2d6 immune.
I'm gonna have to look it up later. But it is a list that's great to finish on because you're not gonna have a bad game playing against this. Like, these are the types of orcs and goblin armies that we used to play against before. You get this fantastic book that everyone says is amazing, and then everyone just plays night goblins, and black orcs, and they're so great. But this is the type of list that sort of makes it great, where you have just different mobs of units. You wish they still had animosity the way it all works. So I think that's what it is. It's a very balanced army, and it's almost sad to think Eric style. You see the list, you just think, oh my God, like, how far has the metagame moved since the last tournament? I don't think this group of lists is particularly egregious, but it is like the whetstone has been used on the axe and everything's sharper. And these are the types of lists that I'd rather be sort of playing against more often than, you know, some sort of laser pointer that's probably coming at me in most of the rounds. So
I mean,
do you have any?
that also requires you to dull things down as well.
Oh, that part where anyway.
Alex has two lasers.
Alasdair, do you want to make your
lasers.
closing thoughts about what we've got? The arms race that we've all engaged.
Is that to Alasdair or to look? Oh,
Alasdair, yeah.
Alasdair.
I
Sorry.
thought I'd cut him off before he did any more defamation, any more damage to my reputation.
I think much like last time, there are glimmers and reflections of the stuff that, you know, we've seen be present at top tables on various tournaments, and we've gone through that, you know, in detail with various different lists in this tournament and their benefits and otherwise. It's still fabulous to see that there's not that as well, so there are some people who are willing to sort of take it. I think I'll be most interested to see whatever impacts the three dragons ultimately, and maybe the tech that's been built in to most of the lists to deal with dragons, what sort of impact that ends up having on the result. Because it certainly wasn't really that accounted for the last time that we played at the tournament. So I suppose I'm just interested to see which way it goes. I'm excited to play the dragon. I mean, he's nearly there. We're sort of most of the way through, right? But I don't think it's going too far. Not everyone has a dragon. I think there's way less dragons than I was expecting. Yeah, I think we're still keeping the spirit, and it'll just be whatever the result of this tournament is that then affects the way that people start to approach it next time, and of course whatever fear campaign Alex starts in the group chat after the tournament. But yeah,
what do you think, Alex? The campaign, it's over, the lists are in. What's going to happen next?
I'm innocent. Yeah, I mean, this has been such a fun exercise to do and go through the lists, and they're talking about adding more players. God forbid we're going to need like weeks to do list reviews
at this rate. Yeah.
At this rate next time, and they're already talking about the next event too. I mean, this is I love it. I just love the energy on that. Okay, ranking. Who do I want to face? Oh, right. I got the big G first. You know, he's coming at me hard. After that, I don't want to see any Wood Elves. Paddy Brown, I love you, but I don't want to see you. I don't want to see that. Any Oaken Staves, no thank you. I'll take all the armies with no level 4s, please. Except for Alasdair. Michael, I've played him too many times. Just avoid that, please. Yeah, it's going to be a great event. We've got another, I would say, we've got less of a mix of factions, but a greater diversity of lists, if that can make sense. Because even like myself and Mike, the two Chaos players, totally different lists. The High Elves, you've got, you know, the great balance efficiency lists, and you've got the meta edge interpretive FAQ lists being run by somebody in this chat. We've got dragons, we've got vampire counts. So I think, shame we haven't seen Beastmen or Empire yet. That's got to be coming next.
Watch this space. Watch this space. Paddy, what do you think? This is, you know, we did this last time, and you weren't going to have to play against it this time. You will. What do you think?
I like that it kind of, I think, having seen, obviously didn't play last tournament, but I knew the lists. I think it stepped up a bit in, like, there's an edge of competitiveness in probably all the lists. Some have gone to a higher extent. But, like, I'm a believer that if you go to a tournament and you want to win it, go and try and win it. Like, I don't think there's anything against that. And I think there's a good proportion of top tier lists, a big chunk in the middle that are probably level pegging, and then more thematic lists below that still are not absolute dead rubbers. So I really like it. The dragons are terrifying for me, all of them. I think they're all at 1,500 points, a massive deal. And then Bretonia scares the shit out of me as well, just because of the mobility. And then Yeah, your list, Alex, at the top. I would still put that in the lists, maybe a step below the dragons, but the 30 sisters or whatever you've got is full on, particularly for me at toughness 3. But there's a lot of toughness 3 in this whole tournament. So for me, that's a benefit being strength 3 mostly across the board. So I really think there's a good diversity of lists. So that's encouraging. So happy that this is my first tournament because I think it's a good one to start on.
Yeah, thanks again to Michael for putting it together and the team behind Michael, Zeke, Jarrett. They probably don't get enough credit here. I know John's sometimes part of those conversations, even though he's playing. So I think everybody's looking forward to it. We can't wait. Hopefully, people have stuck through with us to the end, and their 4 hours of view time will come through on our stats. But from here, we're going to look to interview people individually, starting from next week. But we'll probably ramp that up now that all the videos are out. So if you do want your army showcased, I need from you or Paddy, depending on who does the interview, or both of us together. We just want shots of your whole army, generally then just characters, core, and whatever else is left after that. And so you can sort of explain maybe some of the things we all got wrong. I think maybe there were things that we worked out, as Alex said, a few public service announcements along the way that might make it easier for people so they have a good time on the day. And there's things that they know about the scenarios that mean that they're going to be competitive. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for being with us for the whole time, and we'll see you next time.